it's been a bit since Hearthstone Mercenaries has come out, and PvP is getting more prominent as you probably have leveled your mercenaries to level 30 and gotten equipment and upgraded their abilities with their coins. But I thought it would be really fun to look at Thijs's tier list. Thijs released a tier list and he's been doing extremely well in PvP. So let's see what he thinks is the best mercs that you should upgrade if you're playing PvP.
I'm a doctor!
So this is Thijs's list. It's important to note that currently Thijs is 81 on the leaderboards for Europe Mercenaries. So his opinion does really matter. And I thought I would go through what characters I think I agree with and what characters I don't, because, you know, good content's good content. Let's start off all the way at S tier. S tier, we got Xyrella, Gul'dan, Garrosh, Karin, and Vol'jin. So Xyrella, in my opinion, is the best mercenary in the game because of Blinding Luminance, basically just nullifying a character just not to attack. So basically, if you have Samaro, you play Xyrella and Samaro doesn't really do anything. Now, Gul'dan's very interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Gul'dan, but the reason why people rate it so high is because Gul'dan actually has the highest amount of health of any caster in the game. So the benefit of having Gul'dan is that Gul'dan arguably gets to get 2 abilities off because he'll guarantee live at least turn 1. And you can see that as a huge benefit. He can also come in later and be a complete powerhouse if you run out of fighters to kill him. But it really depends on what Gul'dan is capable of with your current team comp. So Gul'dan, I don't know if is an S tier. I would maybe put him down in A or B, but I could get behind Gul'dan being a pretty good hero. I don't just think he's S tier though. Now, Garrosh Hellscream is really strong. Educated Collins has been using him to basically be the #1 person in Mercenaries for the Europe leaderboard. And the reason why Garrosh is so good is because what Garrosh basically does is force you to just basically kill him or he will kill something immediately. And the combination of Garrosh plus Samaro or Garrosh plus some other orc can be devastating. Garrosh and Thrall is a very devastating combo. And Garrosh is a huge threat because he attacks so fast, but can also just kill your guy. And because Garrosh also has the ability to make you attack back, it's really hard to stay alive against him just because of that. Now, Karin is really strong. Karin is also in my S tier. I haven't played enough with Garrosh, so I don't know if he's going to be an S tier yet, but he is very strong. Now, Karin is obviously an S tier. The benefit of playing Karin is not only does he have a resurrecting ability, but he has the ability to either A, speed up your characters, which paired with like Diablo can be absolutely nuts, or he has the ability to slow down characters so that your next turn you can just do whatever you basically want, because slowing characters down by, I think it's 3 or more, is rather insane. Also, it's an AoE, and AoE is good. Now, people are really sleeping on Vol'jin. I haven't seen enough Vol'jin yet, but Vol'jin is really strong. Vol'jin is a powerhouse on his own, and is basically a must kill. In my opinion, like Vol'jin and Samaro are my 2 must kills every single time. So I definitely do agree with this. I think I agree with everything in S except for maybe Gul'dan. I can see Garrosh there, and I believe it because obviously if Educated Collins got to #1 with him in his build, he has to be pretty decent. For A tier, Blademaster Samaro is obviously an easy A. I would actually put him in S tier if I'm being honest. He does get countered by Xyrella, but if you leave Samaro up, he's just going to win the game for you on the spot. I don't know, maybe an A tier, but he is the top of A tier. I imagine that Thijs probably paired this in, or lined it up appropriately. Diablo is obviously really strong. Paired with Karin, he can be a monster house. And Diablo's kind of like Samaro in the sense that if you leave him up, he's just going to win the game on his own. Rikara is really good with the orc combination. So I imagine that Garrosh and Rikara and Sourfang are all going to be higher up. So yeah, I can see it. I don't know if Rikara will continue being good as more compositions are figured out, but she's definitely good in the orc composition. Lich King is almost one of the premier protectors in the sense because he does have a taunt that can make sure that someone can't attack. He can go through taunts himself. He has a healing. He's very utility based, and I think that's very strong. But the main idea of him is just to taunt him up so that like a person like Samaro can't get through him. That's usually what it's going to be. Sourfang is basically there to combo with the Garrosh and Rikara build. Very good. Now, Thrall is someone I would put in S tier. I truly think Thrall is so freaking strong with the Doomhammer. He can just win games on his own because of how much damage he does. And because he has Wind Fury and potentially going against some kind of fighter, Thrall just devastates people. And I think Thrall, once you get the Doomhammer and he's upgraded, he can be immense and basically has to be killed guaranteed. I think Thrall's S. I'm very surprised that Thijs did not put him in S, but maybe he hasn't tried him out entirely. I'm not sure. Tyrion, I think, is very strong. Tyrion can be very good, but you need to upgrade him. But once he's upgraded, he's great. He's a great fighter to have in your comp. Works really well with very specific fighters. Works really well with specific protectors. Casters, not nearly as much. But because of the fact that he can make basically a fighter not really good because he has the ability to just nuke their attack all the way down to 1, Tyrion is very good against like Samara. Carriel is basically the same idea as Lich King, huge taunt in the way, so I agree. Sylvanas is good. I haven't really seen Sylvanas take over games yet. I thought Sylvanas preemptively, like before the game even came out, would be fantastic, but I don't know. I think Sylvanas is still an A tier because her abilities are there. It just needs to find the composition to really, you know, use her appropriately. Tamsin is great. She's an auto kill. She also is one of the few characters in the game that has anti-healing, which is very good. So I do agree with the A tier. I'm going to go a little faster for B and C. But generally speaking, I think that Prophet Velen is a little better. I think Cornelius is a little better, and I think Malfurion is a little better. A lot of these picks seem like you need to kind of pair them. Maybe Thijs is just thinking this in like a vacuum, but I think the combination of like Prophet plus like Anduin or Prophet plus another holy person is just inherently strong. Cornelius is, I think, on the cusp of being as good as Carriel, if not on the same level. Like, I'm surprised Cornelius is B and Carriel is A. I wonder what the idea is. I wish I had Thijs' insight on this. We have Malfurion. You know, Malfurion's fantastic. He looks great. I love him in nature compositions. You need the light root staff to make him extremely strong, but in nature compositions, he could be the solo carry for it. So yeah, B tier makes sense. Jaina and Varden, I think, are very strong combinations. You should probably get like together. Like on their own, they're not super great, but Varden's really good because he could slow down. I'm gonna pair them together. They're really good. For casters, they're pretty good. I don't, again, like they're not Zyrella tier, but they're definitely good. In B tier, I think Uther is very strong. I don't know about Kurtrus. The one thing that Kurtrus has going from is that he's very fast. So I guess that's fine. I haven't personally used him. I don't think he's that great. Brightwing, I think, has a lot of potential, but again, these slower comps right now don't seem to be doing very well because of how slow or how fast Blade Master Samaro is with Zyrella. So maybe someone finds a counter, we can have some slower builds. For C tier, now this is very interesting. This combination of cards is where I probably disagree the most. And I think the biggest thing is, I'm going to go for C and D in one thing. And I know you guys can't see him, but Illidan is, in my opinion, not a D. I think Illidan is kind of in the same league as B or A, where Illidan on his own is just a huge threat that you have to kill because he's infinitely scaling. And he can one-shot casters. So leaving him in D tier is very weird. I do agree with the demon comps, the murloc comps, and the dragon comps being down here. I think Geddon deserves to be higher up as well. I don't think Geddon is that slow. In the right composition, Geddon can be insane. Varian in C kind of makes sense. He's decent at human comps. Voon's okay. Tyrande's not that great either. Goff is probably the weakest in nature, so it makes sense. But I don't agree with Brucon. I don't agree with Anaconda in C. Anaconda also has a lot of potential to be in B, but definitely not Tyrion. Thijs is doing my boy Tyrion dirty. I don't know. Let me know what you think about Thijs' tier list in the comments down below. Do you agree with my opinion? Do you agree with Thijs? What do you think are the best mercenaries in the game? Are they going to nerf Zyrella? These are all questions I want to ask you. Let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed, please subscribe. You look fantastic.